family. Sister Shanice in the house. How you doing? I certainly hope that you are all doing extremely well today. I hope that you have risen in power, risen in strength, and that you have risen to accomplish much, much, much today. Sister Shanice in the house. Our special guest for today is none other than Ldr Mbandaka. And so you know that he's going to be delivering an awesome teaching session for you today, because wow, you know, Ldr Mbandaka is one of our great leaders in our community today, and he always comes with words of wisdom, words of power, words to strengthen, words to enlighten, you know, not just us as the ordinary people, but leaders around the world. This man has an anointing that is, you know, just full of leadership qualities, and it's for all potential leaders. So, you know, and the other great thing is to know is that there is a leader inside of every single one of us. Each and every one needs to be aware of our leadership potential, how to tap in to that leadership potential, how to bring out our best qualities, how to bring out all of the skills and talents that we have inside of us. Yes, when we came to this earth, we came with purpose. We came, you know, with a whole range of gifts. And it's our duty and it's our responsibility to ensure that while we are here, that we actually exercise those gifts. I mean, the wickedest and the cruelest thing that could happen to any one of us, family, is that we go through life and we haven't actually fulfilled our purpose. The wickedest thing is that we go through life and we haven't utilized all of the gifts that we've been given. The wickedest thing in life, family, is for us not to be able to accomplish all that we have been sent here to do. So certainly hope that each and every one of you will be doing what needs to be done to ensure that all of the gifts, the purpose, and everything that resides inside of you is what you're utilizing to fulfill, you know, that which you've been sent here to do. And wow, don't we have our works cut out as a people? So certainly what we're going to be doing today, family, we're going to be looking at some of the local issues and national and international issues that have been and continue to impact on us as a people. So welcome as you come through the door. It is Ujama Day. It is another day where we celebrate our Africanness, where we talk about, you know, the pride that we have about being African. Don't we just love, you know, being African, being melanated people? It certainly comes with its challenges, its trials and tribulations, but hey, I wouldn't want to be any other. Now, the good news is we've got our guest behind the curtain. I'm going to be bringing him on within the next minute or two. So get ready. Sister Shanice in the house. For those of you who don't know me, I am a radio presenter on the Big G Galaxy Afiwi, the only de-brainwashing station. I'm a YouTube vlogger, as you can see. I do news bulletins, so you can check out my other channel as well, African World Affairs, for news bulletins. You can catch me on TikTok as well, Sister Shanice Live. Sister is spelled with an A, S-I-S-T-A. You can catch me on TikTok, Sister Shanice Live. You can catch me also on Instagram. I don't do Instagram as much as I ought to. And you can catch me on Patreon as well, Sister Shanice. And if you want to check out some of my works, you know, go to Amazon. You can get a copy of my book, my latest book, which is entitled Hidden in the Shadows of Ancient Britain, an Erased African History Restored. Wow, family. You are going to be blown away by the research that I've been doing and what I've been uncovering, you know, in terms of our history in Britain. Okay, I'm going to be doing some posting behind the scenes. Let me just check to see if our guest is ready behind the scenes. Get ready. Reverend Ldr Mbandaka, let's bring you forward to join us in the house. So Brother Ldr Mbandaka, he's going to be joining us any moment now. So put yourself on camera. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, and take yourself off mute as soon as you are ready. Okay, and I'm going to be posting. What I'd like to do is post the link to the family members so that you can join us here on the Sister Shanice Show platform. And to those of you actually who may not be aware of what we're going to be talking about today, because you haven't seen the notices that have already gone out, we're going to be talking about reparations, because in a couple of days time, it is the 1st of Messiah. It is the 1st of August. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means we're going to be taking to the streets of Brixton, and we're going to be moving from Brixton all the way to Parliament Square. We'll probably be stopping at Downing Street along the way. We may even stop at the Privy Council along the way as well. And so family, get ready for Friday, the 1st of Messiah. It is a day that all of us as Africans ought to have in our diary. Okay, it's the day that we take off work if we're working. It's the day that we stop doing whatever we would normally be doing on the 1st of Messiah, and we come together as a family. We come together in unity and in that oneness in terms of what our agenda is as a people. And I'm sure that on that particular day, you know, we are walking with purpose, walking in power, walking to remind the world that we haven't forgotten, you know, the greatest atrocities that happened to us as a people. And as you can see, family, we are joined by Brother Ldr Mbandaka. Privilege as always. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. We so appreciate you and your family. How have you been? How are you?
Tendai Mwari, be thankful unto God. Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru. To the God of Africa be the glory. We say Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors, for without our ancestors we would not be here today. Rumbidzo Kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Giving thanks and praises, my dear Sister Shanice. I am richly blessed, and I am, as always, deeply uplifted by being on your show and to see your smiling face and to know that you are looking so well and so up for the fight for our people's total liberation. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, thank you so much. For as long as I've got breath, Brother Ldr. For as long as I've got breath, thank you so much. And please, you know, open our discussion today in the sort of libation style that, you know, you do so wonderfully at our events. You know, give people a bit of a flavor of, you know, how we do libation and how we usher in, you know, the spirits of our ancestors, you know, to join us and to help us and to guide us in whatever it is we are doing, please.
Tendai Mwari, I humble myself to that request, my dear sister. Just that we all know the pouring of libation is an ancient African ritual. The pouring of libation is the invocation of the spirits of our ancestors. Spirit never dies, and our ancestors understood that spirit never dies. Our ancestors also understood that we, as a people, were spiritual beings in essence, spiritual beings having a physical experience. And therefore, the spirit is the life force. It is the essence of being. It is the essential being. The spirit, beloved brothers and sisters, is the essential being because it is the breath of life. It is the breath of life that we consume from the source of creation itself, the divine supreme creator of the universe. So that breath is life itself. It ever was, it is ever living, and it ever shall be. It never dies. So when we are in the physical, it means that our spirit is being housed in a physical vessel. That physical vessel is temporal. It has a life expectancy. It will lose its capacity to house spirit. So when the body becomes too weak or too ill to house the spirit ascends into a higher realm. The body is left behind by the spirit. It goes back to the earth from whence it came to replenish the earth. But the spirit ascends into the higher spiritual realm. So when we pour libation to our ancestors, we are evoking that spirit, that energy, that life force. So, beloved brothers and sisters, as our sister commands, let us pour libation. It means that in this moment we assume a posture of reverence, for we are coming before, let's say, our shrine. We are coming before that which represents the creator, the creation, the sun, the moon, the stars, Father Heaven, Mother Earth, Zwibato, the elements, which are Moto, fire, Mburo, water, Ivu, earth, and Mepo, air. All of this is encompassed symbolically in the shrine that is before us. And so we grace the shrine in honor of all things greater than ourselves, all things great that is ourselves, for we are a microcosm of the macro universe. We have within us all the properties, all the elements of that which makes up the greater universe. So, beloved brothers and sisters, we assume a posture of reverence in honor of the source from whence we came, the divine source from whence we came. In pouring libation, we cleanse the environment that we are in, to purify the space for the divine spirits of Mzima Mukulu, our great ancestors, to join us. So we say, Mwari tipe yuwa masimba kurira jakaipa. Mwari tipe yuwa masimba kurira jakaipa. We call upon the creator of the universe to give us the power to expel all evil. We say, Mwea yakashata ngaibe matiri. Mwea yakashata ngaibe matiri. We command all evil spirits, leave us. Leave us. All negative thoughts, all workers of iniquity, all who come with envy and jealousy, all who come with ill thoughts in this space. We command that you leave us. We command a transformation, or we command that you leave us. And then we call upon the spirits of Mzima Mukulu, the divine spirits of our gracious ancestors, without whom we would not be here today. We call upon our ancestors, the spirit of our ancestors in the tongue of our ancestors. We say, Muzimu Mukulu ye al-Kebulan, Muzimu Mukulu ye al-Kebulan, Muzimu Mukulu ye al-Kebulan, Uyayi, 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 great ancestors of Mama Africa, come come, come.
Mm.
Great ancestors of Mama Africa, come, come, come. Uyayi tipiyo Masimba, Uyayi tipiyo Chikumburero, Uyayi tipiyo Ruzivo, Uyayi tipiyo Kushinga, Uyayi, Uyayi, Uyayi. Come and give us your strength. Come and give us your blessings. Come and give us your wisdom. Come and give us your courage. Bless us in this space. Bless our curator of this space, our wonderful sister Shanice. Bless her king who is by her side, beside her, in front of her, behind her, working with her. Give them strength to continue. Open our minds and our hearts so we receive the message of Ma'at, the truth, justice, and righteousness, that may prevail according to our command, according to our work. Grant that our minds, our intellect will be consumed with the spirit of Jehuti, wisdom, knowledge, and overstanding, that we may have a deep, deep overstanding of that which we discuss, we reason around today. We call upon all the great forces of goodness and greatness in the universe to galvanize and empower all seekers of truth and righteousness, so that Ma'at may be restored upon the lands of our people and wherever our people may sojourn. We summon the spirits of our warriors, our martyrs, the Zulu warriors, the Xhosa warriors, the Ndebele warriors, the Shona warriors, the warriors of the Yoruba, the Akan, the Omoro, the Amara, Sharpeville warriors, Soweto warriors, Palmares warriors, Haiti warriors, warriors of Morant Bay Rebellion. In this time of revolution, imbibe us with your spirit, with your courage, so that we may engulf that warrior spirit, that warrior zeal, and the wisdom to think through and fight for the total liberation of our land and people, the glory of Mwari Nyakosika, God, the creator of the universe, through Mudzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors. And I just quickly call on the names of some of our ancestors. Warrior queens, Queen Mama Ya Asantewa, Uyayi, Umbuya Nehanda Uyayi, Queen T Uyayi, Amos the Nefertari Uyayi, Amy Jakes Garvey Uyayi, Amy Ashwood Garvey Uyayi. We call upon Nani Uyayi, Nandi Uyayi, Nandi, the mother of Shaka Zulu. We call upon Claudia Jones Uyayi. Come and join us. We call upon some of the Baba warrior kings of our history. The most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey Uyayi. Uyayi Omowale Malcolm X Uyayi, Uyayi Papa Patrice Lumumba Uyayi, Uyayi Dedan Kimati Uyayi, Uyayi Tenkamenin Uyayi, Uyayi Osache Kwame Nkrumah Uyayi Sekuture Uyayi, Uyayi Maurice Bishop, Walter Rodney Uyayi, 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 Denmark Vesey Gabriel Prosser Uyayi, Bookman Dotti Uyayi. Come, O great spirits of Africa, warrior spirits of Africa. Come and give us your blessing, your healing, your strength. Give us the resolve to commit ourselves now and forever to fight for, by any means necessary, the total liberation of our land, our people, the glory of Mwari Nyakusika, God, the creator of the universe, through Mutimumukuru, our great ancestors. Rumbitso kuna Mwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari,
Tendai Mwari. Wow, what a powerful, powerful opening. What a powerful libation. Thank you so, so much, Brother Ldr Mbandaka. Family out there, I hope you felt the power that has just been risen and resurrected in the place and in the space. Can you imagine if all of our children was to start the day at school with that kind of powerful libation to our ancestors and rising of all of those powerful revolutionary spirits? Can you imagine the charge that there would be in the schools and in our young people on a daily basis if when they were to remember the names of those great fallen ancestors of theirs, of ours, what they stood for, what they did? Oh my gosh, this is why we need to reclaim and we need to take back, you know, our powerful traditional ways, such as pouring libation as you did and remembering our ancestors in the way, you know, you just showed us and taught us that we need to be doing it on a daily basis. So family, if you know you are experiencing this sort of libation for the first time, embrace it, watch it back, and you know, do a similar kind of reverence to your ancestors before your shrine in your home, and allow your children to hear you call the names of our ancestors. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, briefly explain to us, you know, why should we be calling on the names of the sort of ancestors that you just called upon? You've just risen the spirits of some of our, you know, powerful revolutionary ancestors. Why is it important that we remember them, that we call on their spirits? Please, you know, tell our listeners.
Tendai Mwari. As I said earlier on, my dear sister, spirit never dies. So when we pour libation, we're not calling on the dead, which is a misunderstanding. We're calling on the living spirits of our ancestors. And that spirit is energy. It is in the universe. Those spirits are in us. And so when we call on their names, we are evoking their spirits to come in us and through us. And so we are actually empowering ourselves in as much as we are empowering our spaces by calling the spirits of our ancestors to occupy those spaces. And then the ancestors are forces of energy that were personified in a Marcus Garvey or a Patrice Lumumba or a Sojourner Truth or a Harriet Tubman. Those are manifestly powerful energies. So those spirits, when they are evoked, are always going to have a powerful effect upon us and upon the work that we seek to do. Then there is the legacy of those ancestors who we evoke in our libation. When we evoke our ancestral spirits, we are also remembering them. We are remembering them in character. We are remembering them in terms of the work that they did. So we continue to be counseled by them. We continue to be guided by those great ancestors. And do we not need a Marcus Garvey in this present time? Do we not need a Sojourner Truth in this present time? So when we evoke the spirits, we are also evoking their legacies, their memory. We learn from them. We remember their words, their teachings, their guidance, their deeds, their work, their creative energies. And so we learn and we are inspired by that. And there are many other benefits from pouring libation. But the third and final one I'm going to identify in this reasoning, in this moment, is it also commands our collective focus, which means it synchronizes our thoughts. It synchronizes our focus, and that's a very powerful thing for people to be able to do, to engage in rituals that synchronizes our focus, synchronizes our thoughts, because then it molds us in spirit and in mind. It molds us together as one in terms of our vision, in terms of our purpose, in terms of our work. And as we know, in unity there is strength. So it binds us. The ritual of libation helps to bind us together as a people. So pouring of libation is awesome. It's powerful, and it's absolutely indispensable from our will to rise as a people, our will to be liberated as a people. We will not get there without the guiding force and spirits of Muzimu Mukulu, our great ancestors. Tendai Mahari.
Tendai, wow, thank you for that again. And, you know, as you was talking, I was just feeling the forces coming together of all of, you know, us as a people who are just focused right there and then on this moment and at this moment. And it was just reminded me of, so for example, Burkina Faso, who are all like focused right now, you know, on the words that their great leader, Ibrahim Traore, you know, will often speak to his people, that unifying voice. And I was also remembering, you know, the Haiti ceremony when they were all united in that spirit of oneness, you know, at that ceremony where at the
Ogun ceremony.
Yeah, the Ogun ceremony, when the powers of the ancestors just stirred them all to victory. Wow, yeah. The power, when we come together as a force. Wow, there are, and I'm sure there are many more examples in our history. You know,
Can I just say, my dear sister, we represent in this universe, in this world, an indomitable force.
Mm-hmm.
An indomitable means unconquerable, indestructible. And one might say, well, if we are an indestructible, indomitable force, why are we suffering as we are today? We are suffering because we have moved away from our source. That's why we're suffering. We're suffering because we're not bound together by the fundamentals of African tradition, which is our spirituality, our culture. We are not bound together by that as we should be. That is why we're in, and because of that, we are divided. We are in the state that we are in because we are being commanded by the ideas and the ideals, not only of people alien to us, but the historical oppressors of our people. Our institutions are bound in their cultural vessels, including the religions that most of Africans around the world today observe. They are the religions of the oppressors of our people, the exploiters of our people. And as Baba, the great erudite, Baba Yusuf Ben Yochanan teaches us, religion is the deification of a people's culture. Therefore, religion empowers the people in whose culture the religion is expressed. So ask yourself, every religion is grounded in a culture. So if you want to know who are the people that this particular religion will empower, ask yourself, what is the preponderant culture in which this religion is grounded? And then you will know who are the people that are empowered by the religion. So when we join those religious groups, we are empowering the people in whose culture those religions are being expressed. And in so doing, we are disempowering ourselves. We are surrendering our power over to them. And that is why we do not represent that indomitable force that by nature we are in this world. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, rise up family. So, you know, we have the freedom today to choose family, you know, what deity in whose culture we actually give our energy and our reverence to, and let it be, you know, in our own culture, to our own culture and in our own image. It's so, so important. Let's stop empowering, you know, the nations that conquered us at some point in our history. Yeah, it's time now. It's time now to take back our power. So I just want to welcome everyone in the audience. To those of you who have joined us already, thank you so, so much. We've got Tuka Pamoja in the house, rising us up. Great to have you in the house. She said, thanks again, once again, for an exciting show. Brilliant. Sheriff S is in the house. I had the pleasure of meeting our beautiful sister Sheriff S at Dougie's memorial event. It was so lovely to meet you. She says, I need your help. I wanted to come to the reparations march, and I will, but I can't stay. I need you and Dr. Abu's help more than ever. We'll be looking out for you. Just come and see us. Our beautiful Sheriff S. Try and make it. We'll be there. I'll definitely be there. I'll be there. I'll be doing the walk from Windrush Square to Parliament. I will also have my books at the event as well. I know some of you want to get a copy of the book and have me sign it. So I will be there with my books as well. We've got H. Ford in the house, and I think he's a bit confused, actually. Don't worry, you'll wake up soon and you'll catch what's going on. We have been so indoctrinated with so much misinformation about who we are as a people, about our culture and everything, that, you know, it's going to take a while for us to realize, you know, what is of our essence and what is not. So rise up, brother. H. Ford, keep it locked. Okay, and we need some real history. Yes, you'll definitely be getting some real history. And you know, when I was doing the research, what I was uncovering in my book, family, when you get it and you start reading it, I mean, I wasn't even taught a fraction of what I've uncovered in my book during my many years at school, college, and university in the UKKK. I mean, to think that they have all of that knowledge, so much information about our history, and that they've hidden it from us. Well, you know, it's not surprising. And so it really is for us to do the research, to uncover the information, and then to share it as best we can. And as you say, yes, it's what will empower us. It's what will guide us forward. It's what will, you know, enable us as a people to rise. And remember, you know, and I hope you got from the opening today that we are not just physical, we are not just body, but we are also spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in this body. And that spirit lives on after me dead and gone. My spirit still about, probably on a different plane, you know. And, you know, even though my mother, for example, has left us, her spirit is still in me. I can hear her talking to me, right. And my father. That's right. Their spirit resides in me. Yes, and their DNA is inside of me, and the DNA of their parents and their parents and their parents. So, you know, we go all the way back to our first mother and first father as a people. And we may have lost our way in terms of our ability to communicate, you know, in the way we used to with the spirits of those ancestors. And once we get those powers back, imagine having your ancestors being able to whisper in your ears and tell you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, I know many of us are open to those spirits, because when I look at some of the inventions that some of our people are coming up with, you know, some of our scientists, some of our greats, you know, they are in touch with their ancestors, who is revealing to them some of the ancient sciences and technologies and the ancient engineering skills that we had and that we were using back in the day. Because when you ask them, where did you get that idea from? It's like, I don't know, it just came to me in a dream. It was your ancestors, you know. We're rising up, African Duarte in the house. And he said, oh, wait, this sounds too much like religion. Our ancestors never operated like that. You know, what we have to remember as well, I suppose, Ldr Mbandaka, is that what we call religion today, you know, has been taken from the original. They have taken it from the original. They've given it their culture. It's like they put their own cloak and their own dress on a lot of what was originally us. We must always remember that we are the original people. We are the first people of the world, the first people of the earth. We are the ones, you know, who invented what is. We came with culture, we came with the science, we came with, you know, religion, we came with everything, you know. And these people who are very recent to the planet, very recent to the planet compared to us, you know, when they came, you know, from the Caucasus Mountains, they had no knowledge of any culture, any language, any religion or anything. So everything they have, they've adapted it from us, just like they do today, for example, in the music industry. You know, anything we come out, you know, the fashion industry, our technologies, our sciences, they plagiarize and colonize everything.
Yeah.
Just damn teeth. I'm not none but nothing. So
Works on.
let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, as some might say, you know. And but we overstand, you know, the reservation that our people have. Those, you know, who like myself, you know, have come out of the religious doctrine. The last thing we want to do then is go into, or feel as though we're going into a new one, you know, or another one. But what we have to, I think, accept with our own African spirituality is the power, the powers of it. That's why they shut us down and cut us off from our spirits, because we were too powerful, were we not, Brother Leader, when we were in tune with our spiritual self?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is why the invader, the oppressors of our people, as Baba, the warrior scholar, Baba John Henry Clark teaches us that when they invaded our territory, when they invaded our land, they attacked our institutions. They attacked our institutions. They destroyed our institutions. And then he said, and then they laughed at our gods. Then he said, the ultimate achievement, they made us laugh at our gods. And then he says, and when you laugh at your gods, that means laughing at us, our own spiritual systems, our own spiritual traditions, making mockery of our own spiritual traditions. And he says, and when you laugh at your God, they need no chains to hold you. They need no prison walls to contain you, because now you are conquered. You are totally conquered. The chain and the prison walls are now around our brains. Our minds are incarcerated.
Yeah.
Our minds, I said, are incarcerated. So we can't even think outside of their conceptual mental prison. That's why the saying goes by Baba Asa Hilliard, mental bondage is invisible violence. Formal physical slavery has ended, but mental slavery continues to this day. This slavery, he says, affects the minds of our people, and in some ways is worse than physical slavery alone. That is to say, the person who is in mental bondage will become self-contained. Not only will that person fail to challenge the beliefs and patterns of thought which control them, they will defend and protect these beliefs and patterns of thoughts virtually with their last dying effort. So we become agents of our own oppressors, carrying out acts of self-oppression on behalf of the oppressor of our people. And let me just say very quickly, when we talk about religion, we're talking about theological dogma. Theological dogma. When we talk about spirituality, we're talking about connectedness, connecting with the essence of being. However you do that, as long as it is authentic, it is spiritual, it is spirituality, connecting with the essence of being. It is to be steeped. It's a way of life steeped in reverence of a divine creation and inner cultivation of the inner essence of being, to become like the creator or to become divine. So it's connectedness with our nature of being. That's being spiritual, our inner essence, our deeper essence, which connects us with the source of creation. That's spirituality. It's different to religious dogma, where the theological dogma, where the emphasis is on the dogma, yeah, the belief system. We as Africans, we draw from knowledge systems, not belief systems, but knowledge systems. Religion emphasizes belief. Spirituality emphasizes knowledge. And knowledge is knowing, or the process of coming to know. Knowing begins with the inner spirit. The spirit, the spiritual knowing is the deeper knowing. So even before we come to conscious knowing, there is a sense, rather like when we eat food, when we physically feed the body, that food goes into the body and it's doing the work in the body. We're not conscious of it. It's doing the work. When we nurture our spiritual beings with the right rituals, the right consciousness, we nurture the spiritual being, that the rituals that we conduct, the ceremonies and the spirit that is generated around these rituals and these ceremonies nurtures our spiritual being in ways that we're not conscious of. Yeah. A baby knows through spirit. The baby knows who that mother is. You see, a baby who is bonded with the mother through spiritual knowing. It starts with spiritual knowing, and then that baby grows into conscious knowing. But it starts with spiritual knowing. That baby has a connection. Nobody has to teach that baby to suckle at mommy's breast. That baby comes knowing. The spirit guides that baby, and that baby connects with the mother. And there is something in that mother that connects with that baby. If you don't disrupt the mother's mental and spiritual space and physical space, that mother will just naturally bond with that baby, because it's something deep and spiritual that connects mother to baby. Yeah. You can't, and then it becomes a conscious thing. But before it is conscious, it is spiritual. It's hard to explain when we're talking about spirit, because you can't hold it up.
But like you say, with connectedness, when we come together, connected as a people, can you imagine the mighty force that we will be? When the spirits come together, when all of us recognize that, we are one, and in that spirit of oneness, we come together, as you say, we will be a formidable force to be reckoned with. So, family, we've all got to get onto that same wavelength, because that's where our powers lie. Oh, wow, wow, wow. So yeah, to everyone in the house, we welcome you. Sister Afri Jama, we rise you up, brother Kwame Aboje. We rise you up. He's going to be joining us again a couple of strongs time. I hadn't heard from him. I was getting a bit worried because I know he's always like blasting up the chat. I'm like, where's Kwame Aboje? But yes, I find him all right. And
now there's a brother full of spirit.
Oh, wow. That's the power that you get,
yes.
you know, when you haven't got those mental chains, you know, tying you to, you know, some God that doesn't look like you, hasn't done anything for our people. If during our days of enslavement, you know, this mythical God didn't come out the sky and save us, then I tell you what, Larry, it will never come out the sky and save us. And so we've really got to move on and find the power within. And that's what I love about spirituality. For me, that power is within, you know, the power, I've seen it, how it was exercised by us, you know, during the times when we needed to take action, you know, as a people. And, you know, the names of those ancestors of ours that you called were those who recognized that the power was within them, and they did that. Abraham Traore today, he recognizes that the power is within him, you know, and it's for him to take the action that needs to be action to bring about the changes that need to happen. So we're empowering everybody today, you know, in the spirit of the spirit of your ancestors that lies inside of you. Rise up, Sister Sonia. Good to have you in the house. Christopher, great to have you in the house. I saw the voodoo man in the house. Rise up. I think that's Dr. Abu. Voodoo power. Voodoo. So enough love and respect. And, you know, you also talking about how, you know, we are, you know, you didn't say programmed, but, you know, to me, it's like, you know, the mental chains that some of our people hold on to, despite, you know, the fact that we're supposed to be free today. And I think that brings us over, you know, for me to just remind people about our petition. And this petition is calling on the Tanzanian government, is calling on the relevant courts, the United Nations, and the other offices of the High Commissions, etc., for human rights, to stop the illegal eviction of the Maasai people from their indigenous land. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, you know, what possesses some of these misleaders, you know, to want to remove the indigenous people from off of their land, you know, to give that land over to foreigners who want to supposedly turn the land into some kind of game park the size of Greater London that houses over 9 million people. I mean, first of all, you know, to me, this has got to be someone who's just not in their right mind. You know, what is wrong with an African leader? Tell the African leader, if you had to speak to that African leader, you know, tell them what is wrong with doing what they're doing, please. And then secondly, what the potential harm and dangers are, you know, for giving away land, you know, within your territory, and the potential implications for the whole of the region. Please, Ldr Mbandaka.
Yeah, Tendai Mwari. Yeah, this is such a disturbing development on the African continent. You know, our Maasai people, our Maasai brothers and sisters have occupied that region for at least centuries. They come from higher up, further up north, as we call it now, from the Sudan, moving down through Kenya to Tanzania, and occupying most of Kenya, or much of Kenya. Most of the Maasai people will be found in Kenya today. And there is approaching 1 million, and probably even more than 1 million living in Tanzania. And they have been there for hundreds of years. They have been there establishing their way of life as a nation of people with all of their traditions as a people. And of course, the Berlin Conference of 1884, 1885 that created those artificial borders all over the African continent, divide that great nation of African people, the Maasai, who are one people who had once occupied one expanse of land and organized their traditional way of life. So that is also an issue. The very colonial boundaries that we have on the African continent is an issue in itself. My dear sister, the problem we have in Tanzania is the problem we have all over the African continent. We see elements of resistance that's taking place politically and even at the level of government, certainly at the masses of the people. We speak about the alliance of Sahel states and so on. We see some positive things that are taking place there. We see some positive elements emerging in Senegal, but by and large, across the African continent, we have a political system across the African continent that is not designed to preserve, protect, and promote our interest as a people. It is a system that was designed, and we call it a neocolonial system. It's a neocolonial system because it is designed to perpetuate the preservation of colonial interests. In our movement, we always try to remind ourselves that neocolonialism is colonialism. So Africa, by and large, is still colonized. A new colonial system is an upgraded, more sophisticated system of colonialism. So colonialism has not ended. Otherwise, we would not have a neo-colonial system. And what we have on the African continent, by and large, are neo-colonial constructs. Neo-colonial constructs that operate like corporations. They are essentially controlled by government, European governments, Euro-American governments, in the interest of European corporations, Euro-American corporations. And that's what we see happening in Tanzania, where the government is denying, evicting the Maasai people from their indigenous land in order to give over the land or sell the land to foreign corporations so that they can run it as a, for hunting, for tourism, and for other corporation interests. That's what we're seeing happening. And disregard for the rights, the inalienable rights of the indigenous people to their land. And for us as Africans, land is first and foremost our foundation. It is the land that we stand upon. Gravity connects us to the land. It is the source from whence our very bodies came. It is the source from whence our food comes. The land feeds us. The trees are the land to the African is mother. And like a baby feeding from the breast of its mother, we feed from the breast of Mother Nature through the herbs, the vegetation, the fruits that we pick from the trees which come from the land, which is the body of our mother, our divine mother, Mother Earth. The land is also the foundation for the homes we build to secure our families. The land is also the place where our bodies return. When we talked earlier on about the spirit, when the body becomes too weak to maintain the spirit ascends. The body then goes back to the earth. And that's a sacred thing for us as African people. Where our remains are rested is a sacred thing for us as African people. And symbolically, it also represents the abode of our ancestors, the earth. And so for us as Africans, land is not just a commercial thing. For Europeans, it might just be. The most important thing is the commercial value. So that's why governments who have lost the sense of Africanness, the sense of African being, can just sell off the land to commercial interests because they have lost their soul. They have lost their soul. If they were still in their African mind and in their African spirit, that would never be an issue. What they would be doing is working with the Maasai people to help the Maasai people to continue to develop and enhance their civilization as a people. They would be working with the Maasai people to develop the culture of Tanzania, the culture of Kenya, to strengthen us as a people, to strengthen our nations as a people. That's what the government will be doing, rather than selling off the land and evicting the people and causing the people the most brutal distress. Because, of course, the people exercising their inalienable right to their land are resisting. And then the government is unleashing the machinery of the state, high-powered weapons, to chastise and brutalize our people for doing the right thing by defending their inalienable rights. It's cruel, it's brutal, and it's just wrong. And we need to, in the best possible way, get behind our Maasai brothers and sisters and give them all the support we possibly can. And even just by spreading the word and just putting it out there in the ether, condemning the action of the Tanzanian government, condemning its action, putting it out there. And whenever we get the chance and get the opportunity, we're speaking to other Africans, make them aware of this so we can channel our positive energies to empower our Maasai brothers and sisters there. You know, we evoke the spirits of our ancestors, Maasai ancestors, and the ancestors across the African continent, throughout the African diaspora, together with our people, to imbibe the people, to empower them in their fight to preserve their land, their sacred land. May victory be theirs. And we condemn in the same breath the Tanzanian government for selling out the rights and the destiny of the Maasai people. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. You know, I agree with you totally, brother. Ldr Mbandaka is the wickedest thing any government could do. And it's clear that they're not working in the interest of the people, but in the interest of those foreign corporations. And, you know, when I look back into our history, as African people, we originally owned so much land in this world. We were the original people of the entire globe, you know, and over the last couple of thousands of years, these people have come and have dispossessed us of so much of our land. We were the original people of Europe, the original people of Canada, the original people of America, the original people of time. What was I just going to say there? You know, we're the original people of so many parts of the world. It was New Zealand I was thinking of. So many parts of the world. And we have been dispossessed of our land, and we have been replaced by people who don't look like us, don't like us. Our last bit of real estate is our homeland now. You know, the birthplace of us as Africans. This is why, you know, we're so numerous there, because, you know, it's our birthplace. And these people are now in our homeland and are using us to work against us, to deprive us of our homeland. And, you know, unfortunately, we've had these treasonous, treacherous ones throughout history. But as a people, we still haven't worked a way of dealing with how we remove these treasonous, treacherous ones. And complaining just doesn't seem to give us the result that we want. And we've yet to be able to tap into our powers, you know, so that we can send something, you know, to deal with the problem. So, you know, but to sit and watch, you know, our land being given over, you know, to the UAE in this instance, who are the foreigners, okay, who are the same ones who are arming, for example, and financing through private corporations, I learned from other people's research, the Israelis right now. So we know what they're capable of. We know who their business partners are. Are we not potentially opening the back door for a homeland for the same people who are causing the atrocities that the whole world is witnessing and seem powerless to do anything about right now in Palestine? Do our leaders not think of those potential dangers? I mean, this is what happened to us in the past. We entertained evil and wicked, demonic visitors to our lands because we didn't know their true nature. And today we know their true nature, and we still do the same thing. And leaving it to our futures to have to deal with.
Yes, Tendai Mwari. And just to remind us, you mentioned the UAE, United Arab Emirates. We remind ourselves that they are partners in crime with the so-called Western world. Them and the Saudi Arabians, you know, are there to do the dirty work of the conceptual West. We have to remember, and they represent a very evil and fiendish force in the world today. They're all over the African continent wreaking havoc. In the Sudan, we see what is happening in the Sudan, for example, and the carnage that is taking place. African life, African blood, oceans of African blood flowing on the ground, brothers and sisters, African lives being wasted, men, women, and children in the thousands, And these corporate devils backed by these evil satanic forces from hell that are unleashing their evils on the African continent and throughout the world. And that's why we have work to do as African people. We have to empower ourselves wherever we are through unity and organization, and through the decree of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, that wherever we are, we must organize ourselves as a nation of people. Because when a people and a nation is a people organized as a sovereign entity. When you are sovereign, you have supreme authority. You have supreme power. You have command over your own destiny. You answer to no one. That's what sovereign means. And it means that if we are organized as a sovereign entity, then we are empowered as a people by pooling our resources, pooling our ideas, pooling our thoughts as a people, and organizing ourselves meticulously. Then will be in a stronger and a more powerful position to impact on the other parts of the African world. If we as a people, as African people, here in what we call Africa UK, Africa UK is the nation of Africans domiciled in the UK. If we were constituted as a nation and we had generated the resources necessary, for nation building, then we would be in a much stronger position to impact what is happening in Tanzania. We'd be in a much stronger position to impact what is happening in the Congo. We would be in a much stronger position to impact what is happening in the Sudan, South Sudan, as well as the Sudan. We would be in a more powerful position to impact what's happening in Haiti. Let us not forget the ills of Haiti. We would be in a much better position to impact what is happening to Africans around the African world. Our downfall, and the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, says this to us in Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, that our greatest weakness is our disorganization. That's our greatest problem. We are disorganized. And those of us who call ourselves conscious Africans, who call ourselves freedom fighters, who call ourselves liberators, we are the least organized. The government of Tanzania is organized, but it's organized against us. See if you follow me. It's a neo-colonial construct. So it's organized against us. Where is the organized force, the organized nation of Africans that will go up against or will challenge the Tanzanian government? Yeah. So we as Africans here in the UK, in lands that are not our lands, it's not Mama Africa, it's not even the Caribbean or adopted homelands. Yeah. If we remain disorganized, then our impact, our capacity to impact the African world in a positive way is going to be very weak. We have to be united, we have to be organized, and we have to be organized as a nation. A nation is a people organized as a sovereign entity, as I said before, drawing on their own agency to promote, protect, and preserve their own interests. It has to be a collective effort. It has to be a united and organized effort. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, absolutely. And, you know, for me, when we talk about organization, just to complement what you were saying there, you know, as a people, we need to be organized politically so that, you know, on a political level, we have a powerful voice, you know, as a people. And we need to be organized militarily so that we have, you know, the military forces, the people's military that we can send into places like Haiti, the people's military that we can send into Sudan, the people's military forces that we can send in to protect the Maasai people. You know, we need to organize on every level. We need to be organized in terms of even education so that we're taking back the minds of our people. We're instilling in the minds of our people an African mindset. We need to be organized on every level. But, you know, what the society and the systems and their institutions have done really is to, you know, disable us from organizing. We rely on their armies, just like the world is looking helplessly on today to see what's happening in Palestine. But the only armies that can go in and do something are the armies that belong to the forces of evil. Where's the armies that belong to the forces of good? You see, so we've got our work to do, family, when it comes to the organization that Brother Leader is talking about. We need to organize on every level, science, in terms of our sciences, in terms of our engineers. You know, if we had sciences, scientists that were organized, engineers that were organized, that we could send to some of these countries to set up some kind of something that will deal with these people then when them coming to them certain regions, you know, then we wouldn't be like sitting ducks. Our people in these villages and these towns, wherever they are, the blood that we're talking about that's drenching, you know, the soil of Mama Africa, you know, that's because our people are there living, you know, just harmless, beautiful lives where they're at one with nature, and then evil comes on them like praise, and they are defenseless because they haven't been prepared to defend themselves against these evil forces. So for how long are we going to be like lambs to the slaughter? How long are we going to be, you know, just unprepared for the plans of the wicked? If we don't see what's going on today in Palestine and worry as Africans and don't believe so one day that could be us, then our eyes, we're walking sleeping ducks.
What?
We're not seeing what's going on. It's them today. What's to stop it from being us tomorrow?
What?
What safety mechanisms are we putting in place to protect us, you know, from those bombs, barrage of bombs that could be dropped on us at any time by those evil forces? Huh? We don't see what's going on over there. Oh, some of us think that that could have never happened to us. What's to stop it? What's to stop it? Let me just see how the audience are in here. And I posted, family, the link to the petition in the chat. Please, if you haven't signed it, please do sign it. We all need to come together and condemn the Tanzanian government for what they're doing to the Maasai people and for their ignorance that they're displaying by even considering to hand over so much of our land to people who don't look like us and don't like us. And when you sign the petition, very, very importantly, people, you need to verify your email address. With change.org, if you do not verify your email address, then by signing the petition, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. And we're going to need at least 10,000 signatures, 20,000 signatures before it can be taken seriously. We're only on about 400 and plus at the moment. So we really need everybody watching this to sign the petition and to verify, please, your signature. Let's see what the family are saying right now. Put on my glasses so I can read the thing better. H. Ford, in Africa, our own military kills their own people throughout the villages. So we are to blame. Also, we are not perfect either. You know, H. Ford, you're right. I mean, we were talking about these treasonous, treacherous ones among us who are very much part of the problem that we're talking about, you know? And yes, we talked about the fact that these military that we have are not there to protect the people. They are there to protect the interests of, you know, the ruling classes, of the evil, wicked ones that want our land. And the way that they're taking our land is by clearing it village by village by village. And if cities in the way, they'll take the cities and everybody in the city out the way as well. What we're seeing that's happening in Palestine is public because it's in the public eye, but there's worse atrocities in terms of the scale of the atrocities that's happening, the killing and the murder that's happening across, you know, some of these African towns and villages. Sinova, good to have you in the house. Rise up, rise up, rise up, Brother Thomas. There is that. No, there is a hell. Don't try to go there. You know, oh dear, oh dear. So we want to rise up our people who have their eyes open and know exactly what's going on. I've posted the petition. We've got to be a voice on behalf of the Maasai people. You know, we've got to let them hear our voices of support. Rise up, Sister Sherry, rising us up in the house as well. Yes, in their absence, peace and love to Sister Afrijamo and Brother Kwame. Peace and love to you both, indeed. Rise up, Sister Sonia Bell, watching us from London. Kate Safag, great to have you in the house. I've got to send this show to my Jamaican dad. I'm teaching him about the spiritual essence of African people and how that plays an important role in how we live. Yes, please do share, share, share. And Sinovia says, our brains have played a dirty trick on us. That's why it's most important that we as a people are very spiritual beings. Yes, we are very spiritual. Tuka Pamoja, good to have you in the house. I'm so glad she says Baba Mbandaka made the distinction between spirituality and belief. Thank you. Division Nations in the house, watching with my ancestors. Yes, indeed, we are never, ever alone. Our ancestors are always with us, beside us, in front of us, around us, speaking to us, trying to steer us, trying to guide us. And we thank them so, so much. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, let's hope that everybody, you know, after listening to us today, takes the initiative to sign the petition, verify their email address, and share, 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 so that we can get the numbers up and so that we can be of a support to our people. You know, we can't just talk about supporting. If the little that we can do is to sign a petition, we must do it, family. We absolutely must. Something else we must do.
Couldn't agree with you more, sis. Couldn't agree with you more. It's the least we can do. Very least we can do.
Something else we need to do as well, Brother Ldr Mbandaka, is to join forces on the 1st of Messiah. Oh, Reparations Day. We will be marching, walking. We'll have a rally. There'll be artists, there'll be speakers, there'll be music, there'll be stalls. I'll be there with my books. Brother Ldr Mbandaka will be there with the Al-Kabbalah Revivalist movement. And thousands of us, I'm hoping, are going to be turning up. We're on this coming Friday, in 2 days' time, on the 1st of Messiah. That's the 1st of August, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about when we say the 1st of Messiah. You might say the 1st of August. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, why is reparations important? Why should our people be turning up on the 1st of Messiah to join us in that movement of a people from Windrush Square in Brixton to Parliament Square in the West End of London, please?
Tenai
Mwari.
The question of why reparations are important has to do with the fact that we as African people are owed reparations by Europe, America, for hundreds of years of what we call the Ma'afa, otherwise known as the Maangamizi, which is the colossal destruction of African humanity. And it took the form of, firstly, invasion of the African continent, conquest of African people, enslavement of African people, colonization of African land. And we spoke earlier on about neocolonialism. So it's raising the system of colonialism to a more highly sophisticated form of colonial oppression. Let me remind us that colonialism, or the colonization of our people, colonialism is slavery. We need to be clear about this, beloved brothers and sisters. Colonialism is slavery. It is the enslavement of one nation by another nation. What they call slavery in its configuration was a system whereby an individual could presume to privately own another individual and call them their property. Now, what happened to us as African people is that we were subjected to that kind of enslavement, individual white man owning individual Africans, yeah, and reducing us to property, violating thus our humanity, totally violating and denying us our humanity. That's a crime. And we as Africans charge that that is a crime. And a crime must be punished. And victims of a crime must be compensated. That is a principle that underpins the reparations campaign, the demand for reparations. Some people say we're begging. We're not begging reparations. You don't beg reparations. You demand reparations. Yeah? And let me remind us also that history shows that no people have achieved reparations from a position of disorganization or disunity. So a prerequisite, a vital prerequisite of accomplishing our reparations, which we demand justly and rightly, is that we must be united and we must be organized in our challenge against the historical enslavers, colonizers, and abusers of our people. Let me come back to this concept of the Ma'afa and the stages of the Ma'afa: invasion, conquest, enslavement, colonization, neocolonization. Yeah? When the system of slavery was said to have been abolished, it was not an abolition. It was a transformation of the system of slavery. In other words, the Europeans who had exacted and exercised supreme power over us as Africans continue to maintain power over us. That never changed. That dynamic never changed. But what they did was two things. They transformed the system of slavery, the traditional system of slavery. They transformed it from a private enterprise system into a nationalist, into a system of nationalization. So they nationalized the system of slavery. So rather than individuals being able to own individuals, now the nation of Britain owned the nations of African people. So it was the nation that was enslaving the nation, thus making the system of slavery now a nationalized industry, no longer a private enterprise, but now a nationalized industry. Also, having for centuries traveling to Africa and removing Africa, stealing Africans from the land, they now transform that system of stealing Africans from the land and now traveled to Africa and stole the land from Africans. That's colonialism. I wonder if you're following me. During slavery, they came to Africa, they stole us from the land. That system of slavery became outdated. And they determined that it was more profitable. And this came with the Industrial Revolution. They needed the resources, the natural resources of the land. And the labor now that they needed to take from Africa into Europe, into the Americas, they said, now we need that labor on the land. So they went to Africa, stole the land from the Africans. Rather than stealing the Africans from the land, they stole the land from the Africans, established the system of colonialism, nationalized slavery, and then enslaved Africans on the land in Africa, whilst they continue to enslave us on the lands in the Caribbean, in America, North and South and Central America. So we must understand that today, when we talk about neocolonialism, it's another upgrade, another sophisticated upgrade of the system of slavery. Remember, we said colonialism is slavery. It's nationalized slavery.
Mm-hmm.
It's slavery rehashed, revamped, to be more sophisticated, to be more efficient, a more efficient system of enslavement. No longer needing ships to transport Africans thousands of miles across the waters, when you can steal the land from the Africans on the African continent, steal their natural resources from the land, and steal their labor to work in your interests, to enrich France and Britain and America, etc., etc. So if colonialism is an upgraded, sophisticated form of slavery, a rehashing, a revamping of the system, and neocolonialism, which prevails today, is colonialism, then neocolonialism is the latest form of slavery. So we are still enslaved as a people. And we need to understand this. The system of slavery is still alive and well today. It's called neocolonialism. And now they've gone into this system of globalization, where through their corporations and through their armies, they are dominating and controlling the world and its resources and its industries in their own interest. They're using their corporations to steal our resources, to steal our labor. So the that system is still with us today. That system of enslavement is still with us today. So when we say, when we call for reparations, we are calling for an end to that system of enslavement of our people that still prevails today. And we are calling for the oppressors, the exploiters, the enslavers of our people to pay just deserts for what they have done and they are still doing to us. But remember, I said they are still doing to us, so we are demanding that it must stop. But I say again, no people have ever historically received reparations except from a position of power and a position of unity. We have to unite and we have to organize. And Baba Chinwezu, who wrote an excellent paper on reparations for the reparations conference that was held in Abuja, Nigeria in 1993. He guides us in the understanding that reparations begins with self-repair. We have to start the process of self-repair. Without self-repair, we will not have the ability to unite, and we will not have the ability to organize. And without the ability to organize and unite, we will not be in a position to force the hand of the oppressor to pay us what they owe us. And when we consider the wickedness that has been done, what has been stolen from us as Africans, the way we have been raped and our motherland has been raped and pillaged to wax themselves rich in Europe, in America. Everything that we see that constitute European and American wealth and opulence comes from the blood, sweat, and tears of African ancestors and Africans of the present. This is what we have to remember. It is our wealth. They are basking in the glory of our wealth that they've stolen from us, and we must take it back. That is what underpins the first of Mosiah, the African Emancipation Day Reparations March. that Emancipation Day is important. It's an important symbolic day in the history of our people, because that day represents symbolically Africans forcing the hands of the enslaver to at least legally abolish the system of slavery. But please do understand, it was a trick that was played upon us. Again, I say slavery was never truly abolished. The British in 1833 announced the abolition of slavery to the abolition of slavery, which is to take effect on the 1st of Mosiah in 1834, pending, listen, this is double speak, pending this, our ancestors serving an apprenticeship of 6 years. Well, between 1833 and 1838, our ancestors, who were wise people, realized that that was a trick, that was gobbledygook, that was double speak. And so we went into overdrive in burning up plantations, in destroying the plantation system and rendering the system of slavery economically inviable. That forced them to end the apprenticeship system in 1838. And that's why some people are confused about whether slavery ended in 1833 or was it 1834 or was it 1838. It was the chicanery of the British. The British are masters of deception. They are masters of deception. Yeah? And so here we are today. Our ancestors, when the system or the abolition of slavery was announced, our ancestors did take to the streets, and we did dance, and we did chant, and we did, vibes up, generate some vibration. And we were determined to push for true freedom, and we're still fighting today for that freedom. So when we come out on the 1st of Mosiah, note we say Mosiah, we don't say August, because we are the descendants of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We are the spirit and mission children of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and not Augustus Caesar, not the children and the descendants of Augustus Caesar, from whom the month of August was named. So we say Mosiah, the 1st of Mosiah. That is a sacred day for the remembrance of Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors. So that in itself is a reason, and good reason, for us to gather in our numbers as African people, to observe and to honor the spirit and the blood of our ancestors, and to reaffirm that the blood of our ancestors will not be shed in vain. We live today to ensure that their blood will not be shed in vain. Give praises unto our ancestors. And then we're using that day to look, well, first of all, to look each other in the face and say they owe us reparations. And then to look the oppressor in the face and say, you owe us, pay us what you owe us. We have to say it, and we have to mean it. And whilst we're doing this, and whilst we're gathering and on the 1st of Mosiah, we have to remember that that cannot be enough. We need to emerge from 1st of Mosiah gatherings and outpourings. We need to emerge with an agenda for nation building, an agenda for the healing and the empowerment and the unity of our people, so that as we swell the ranks, or we swell our nation, the nation that we're building with Africans who are signing up to this nation, we have greater and greater capacity and power to confront the enemy and demand that they pay us back everything that they've stolen from us. Again, I say we're not begging nobody nothing. We are demanding. It's like somebody come take your something, your sin thing, and you see them with your sin thing, your shirt or your hat, and you know say for you, and you name them on it, right? And you go to them and you say, give me back my sin thing, give me back my hat, give me back my shirt, because I feel you. You're not begging, you're demanding. And that's what we need to do with these people. We need to look them in the face, in the eyes, and demand what is ours, and have the power behind us. Have the power behind us to enforce our demand. And that can only come through nation building. Nation building. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Oh, beautifully put, Brother Ldr Mbandaka. And, you know, family, this is what I really do enjoy about, you know, the talks that we have with Brother Ldr Mbandaka, because, you know, I just learn so much every time from Brother Ldr. And as I said, you know, he talks, you know, on a level where leaders can learn so much, you know, from your wisdom and that you share with us. And, you know, as you was talking about the way that slavery has transformed itself over the centuries, from slavery on the plantation to slavery on Mama Africa land, to how now we're at the stage of neocolonialism, and why it is as a people now we need to be demanding reparations, and also that repair is such an important part of reparations, because the teaching that happens during this season is an important part of the repair. You know, reparations and the season of reparations is an opportunity for us as a people to revisit and to look at where we are, so to speak, in the struggle. What's going on? Where are we in terms of our demands? Where are we in terms of, you know, the evil and the evildoers? What are their plans and schemes? We've seen how, you know, they tricked us into believing that we were made free, that they'd given us freedom, in the same way that they tricked us into believing that we had independence. They are a people, as you say, who are masters at deception, tricked African nations into believing they had independence, when all they really had was a black face in a white space and their own flag. Because, you know,
well, a flag and an anthem as well, sis.
And an anthem, yeah.
Don't be like that.
Anthem as well.
You give us a flag and an anthem. Come on.
A flag and an anthem, and a black face in a white space.
That's it.
And then lead us to believe that we were now independent. Trickery. They tricked us. We were never independent. You know what happened was they still maintained the levers of control. They left their institutions and their organizations in place, and they controlled, you know, from the outside what was going on inside. And as you said, they continued to rape and pillage our land and our resources to enrich themselves, and while our nations languished in poverty, and then they have the wicked audacity to showcase examples of poverty on their television 24/7, you know, to as a reinforcement of the mockery. So, you know, it was a trick that we are now free. Well, no, we're not free. We like living in an open prison. But you know, the next trickery that they're up to as well, they never stand still. They're already developing the next phase of their sophisticated way of advancing enslavement. And they're doing that by trying to introduce data control, digital control, to give us all, you know, a digital ID that's we're facially recognized, we're recognized by our fingerprints. Where we travel, they know. How many times we travel, they know. What we have in our bank accounts, they know. What medication, you know, we have and we don't have, that they insist that we have, they know. They want to control us through their data collection. And, you know, sadly, some of the African countries are giving away control of the potential danger of that, or they're colluding with them, you know, to control their citizens and their nation through the new form of digital control. So next you'll have, you know, these facial recognition cameras that's linked to your digital ID, and from the digital ID, they will know everything about you, every move. Is that not like when you was on the plantation and they put the number on your back, they singed it on you like they do the cows, you know? Is that not like having a means of tracking your every move? So they're already advancing and developing the next stage of their form of slavery into a more sophisticated form of enslavement, the trickery, just like they tricked us into believing that slavery had been abolished, and they tricked us into believing that our nations are independent. They are going to continue to trick us. And this is why this season is so important, because we need to highlight and we need to expose to our people what's going on so they can resist it. So family, really important discussions that we're having here today. There was one other topic, wasn't there? So we said reparations. We wanted to look at what was happening in Tanzania. You know, but we're only 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from the top of the hour. Maybe we haven't got time for the new conversation, because I think reparations is so important. Let me hear your comments. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, Ghana's got a new president, as we know. And, you know, they're pushing him up there as the leader of all sorts of bodies. And he is has been nominated to take the lead in the call for reparative justice. And he is now, what is his role? Is he on the AU, head of the AU? And they've got an agenda now where they're going to be championing this whole, you know, reparations agenda. To be honest, I do get a bit worried when some of these African leaders who haven't really demonstrated that they are for the people, you know, they might give off a bit of rhetoric here and there, but in terms of real meaningful moves away from the West to take hold of independence seriously, when they haven't really made that sort of move, but they've been given this central role, you know, in terms of reparations, for example, for what we suffered, for which some of these countries on the continent have yet to, you know, really come to terms with dealing with, in terms of reparative justice to the descendants of those, you know, who were removed from those lands as well. You know, when we think about the fact that neocolonialism is still very much, you know, a new method of enslavement on the continent, these so-called African institutions like the AU and ECOWAS, you know, SADC, etc., when we have, you know, the puppets to a large extent of the West heading up these institutions, and then they seem to be wanting to take the lead on agendas like reparations, should we be concerned? Is there likely to be any confusion? Is there likely to be, you know, some sort of trickery down the road that we need to foresee? What are the potential dangers, if any, could there be with institutions like the AU, CARICOM maybe, and other institutionalized African organizations that are part of the Western system? What are the potential dangers, if any, for them running off with this agenda around reparations and sitting around the table and having cozy discussions about it, and maybe even coming to agreements with the West on this? Is there a cause for concern? What are your thoughts, please, Brother Ldr?
Not only, and I want to say the answer to the question is in the very tone of the question, the very cynical tone of the question. Not only should we question it, we should be we should be curious, we should be suspicious when neocolonial states come together to form a union. What you have is a neocolonial institution. You have a union of neocolonial constructs. And therefore, their vision and their drive is going to be to produce what neocolonial states were designed to produce. The only thing is that they're united in the process, which makes them stronger in their capacity to maintain their neocolonial purpose or their neocolonial ideals. So the African Union has to be questioned in that regard, because the nations that make up the African Union are in essence neocolonial. And then the African Union is funded, over 2/3 of its funding comes from the from the European Union.
Exactly.
Therefore, the European Union effectively owns the African Union. Yeah. And so for the African Union to claim that it's taking up the issue of its benefactor, the European, because reparations, who are we demanding reparations from? European enslavers and colonizers of our people, who are the strongest elements in the European Union, France and Britain. Well, Britain is no longer in the EU, but it's still a significant force in Europe. Yeah. And then you have a situation where the European Union has, or countries within the European Union have observer status in the African Union. So every significant gathering of the African Union has the presence of our oppressors, of the oppressors in these meetings. I mean, can we really take that seriously? So if such an institution, which is supposed to be a union of African states, if they are now mouthing the call for reparations, we have to question, what is that really about? What is that really about? Because, you know, the beneficiaries of European largesse are not going to be charging their benefactors. They're not going to be bringing a case against their benefactors. They are already being funded by their benefactors. But of course, reparations is not about funding. Reparations is about taking back what you have stolen from us. Yeah. So I'm very, very curious. I'm also curious even about John Mahama. There are those among us who seem to have some confidence in him, but just want to remind us that this is not his first tenure as president of Ghana. He was president of Ghana before, as leader of the NDC, which is in power today. The NDC and the what's the other party? The NPP, I believe the party's name is, have been engaged in the Tweedledee, Tweedledum neocolonial politics for many decades now, which has not advanced the cause of Africans in Ghana to any significant degree. And so I am inclined not to be too excited about John Mahama, the NDP, and its politics. I'm observing with great interest. I hear some of his rhetoric, which are designed, it seems to me, to tickle our ears and our desires to hear something Pan-African coming out of the mouths of African presidents. But how much substance is behind the symbolism or the I'm not convinced. I'm not very sure, and I think we need to take a cautious look at this, and a cautious observance and suspicious view of this. That's my humble opinion on this
Absolutely
particular
agree with
matter.
you on that.
The reparations movement.
Yes. Apologies, my audio seems to be crackling a bit, and I hope it isn't.
I was going to. I've noticed that there's a little bit of a delay, isn't there?
Yes, yes. So apologies for that. We just have to work through all these gremlins. But you were going to say, and then I have a follow-up question in terms of the AU's responsibility as well to consult with grassroots reparations organizations. I wonder if you can comment on that. Do you think that there should be a consultation role? And if so, should they be putting structures in place so that they're consulting with the organizations up and down, this country and other countries that have been demanding and organizing for reparations? And should there be a collaborative role, or should we be telling them to move on to the way, move on, go? This isn't their fight. They need to be focusing on, their national issues. Please comment on consultation, organization, consultation structures, and what our message ought to be as well, please, to those that are now wanting to probably get in our way. And take up the mantle and run off with it in a direction that we may not be happy with. Please, comments, yes.
Tendai Mwari, my dear sister, I'm pleased to say that we seem to be guided by the same spirit, because the point I was going to make is, of course, the reparations movement must begin from the grassroots. Mm-hmm. It's a grassroots movement. It has to start from the grassroots. Mm-hmm. And if African governments are sincere in their posturing in favor of reparations, they must connect with the grassroots and be guided, take their instructions from the grassroots. Absolutely. I've also said earlier on, drawing on the wisdom of Baba Chinwezu from that said conference in Abuja in 1993, that reparations conference, where he advised us that reparations begins with self-repair. I would like to see those African governments who appear to be making lip service to the reparations cause to seriously engage in the process of self-repair. They're in an excellent position to effect the process of self-repair within the nations for which they control the machinery of government. I'd like to see them engaging with the people on the ground, engaging with conscious African groups in the process of self-repair, and laying the foundation for developing in a serious way the campaign for reparations. And I don't see much evidence of that, whether on the African continent or in the Caribbean. And so I'm not excited about the AU and what comments come out of the AU in favor of reparations. I'm not excited about CARICOM and what comments come out of CARICOM. So much of what CARICOM represents seems to be a contradiction of any campaign for reparations, that we have to question what really, in essence, these governments stand for, and what is their true relationship with the masses of the people of their respective nations. That is where I think we need to interrogate, and how I think we need to interrogate these governments to establish their sincerity or otherwise. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, absolutely agree. And for those that are serious, we would expect them to be putting, structures in place so that they do consult with grassroots organizations, so that they can help to build and empower grassroots organizations to do the works that needs to be done as well, and to be the voices, you know, and the machinery that consults more widely at a local level as well. There's so much that those institutions, if they were for the people, could be doing to help to develop, you know, and to empower the people. They could, you know, we could have our own buildings that they are financing, where we organize, where we have the consultation meetings, where we, you know, galvanize our people, and where we can, you know, develop policies that we can put to them and operate in the way that a trade union would operate, for example, where we've got the masses and the membership on the ground, organized and structured, feeding, you know, upwards and into a body that represents us and our interests, certainly, you know, so that our voices and our demands can be heard as well. Well, time is running away with us, and family, let me just quickly go over to the chat and embrace the comments that we're getting. Tuka Pamoja, great to always read your comments as well. Tuka Pamoja says, yes, these devils have never have a day off from practicing their devilry. They know their time is up because nothing under the sun lasts forever. The sun are trying to deal with it right here in the UK. They're forever trying to block the sun with their chemtrails because the sun is trying to do its work. Yes, my audio is going in and out. My apologies for that. Papa Cheesy is in the house. Good to have you listening in all the way from Bermuda as well. And he's saying that, what's the day? Sorry, somewhere, Sister Shanice, August, we have a 2-day emancipation holiday, and Friday is Mary Prince Day. It's Bermuda Cup match, a cricket game as well. Google Bermuda Cup match, been going on. Okay, rise up. We've got Ntondom in the house as well, saying, yes, I remember Sister Shanice, I think it's what Shanice told us not to trust Ruto. That's right, I always had my own, that Ruto. He talked a good talk, didn't he? But he soon started showing his true colors, you know. He's a wicked, wicked leader, getting his army to turn their guns on their own people. What a wicked, wicked man that is. Synovia says, I got it from Amazon. I wish I could have gotten it from somewhere else. What did you get from Amazon? Hopefully you got my book. Hopefully each of you, yeah, until okay, Amy, Synovia, can you advise me where you got the book from? Okay, rise up. I'm not sure which book that is, but it just reminds me to remind you all to do get a copy of my latest book. I would be honored to know that you have it in your possession, and not only
I've got my copy,
reading it as well. Start reading it yet, brother leader. I know you got a whole heap of books, so I won't hold it against you if you haven't, but I would love to hear your feedback when you do start.
I'm taking the first major step. I've got my copy, and I'm proud to have my copy, and I will get on to reading it, my dear sister.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I think everyone should follow in that.
Yeah, step 1, get the book. Step 2, open it and please read it. Sister Afrojamo, awesome to have you in the house.
That's
yes. Yes. Watching and listening to 2 prolific Africans here down in Portland, Jamaica. Rise up, Lumqua. Glad to have Jamaica in the house. So we've got the USA in the house. We've got the UK in the house. We've got Ghana in the house. We've got Bermuda in the house. Rise up, family from all around the world. This is definitely a global platform. LB King Kush, good to have you in the house. Just coming on. You're just coming on just as we have finished. You come on. Oh gosh. Anyway, family, before you leave, please do give us a thumbs up. Yeah, we don't know that last stroke was really fun, and we had our brother Prophet on the line, and I was proving to him how YouTube, you know, is manipulating my figures, because I can go behind the scene and see how many people were listening. And so last week I went behind the scene and we saw that there were over 500 people actually watching and 1 new subscriber. But within about 5 minutes when I went back, that number had gone down to 200 and something. By the time I went to the front after the show, it was 100 and something. So, you know, these people, I'm going to do the same again today. Catch them before they manipulate it. They are so bad. So don't watch the figures. Don't watch nothing. Just give us the like same way. Check that you're still a subscriber, because they are unsubscribing my subscribers. So subscribe yourself back to the channel so that you get the notices. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, as always, the time just whizzes by so quickly. It's already the top of the hour. We have been honored, you know, to have your presence with us today. And hopefully, I know I'm going to talk to you. I'm always trying to get my speakers to come back to, you know, because there's never enough time. If you've got time next Wednesday to come, you know, with a presentation or a topic, but I mean, I enjoy these conversations as well. And so does our audience. We would love to have you back again. Please do let me know when it's convenient, whether or not you are able to make it back next Wednesday, and it will be after the reparations march, so we'll be able to talk about the reparations march. Brother Ldr, let me give you a minute to have a final farewell greeting to our family.
Tendai Mwari, Rumbidzo Kuna Mwari, Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Kudzai Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors, for without our ancestors we would not be here today. And we also give thanks and praises for Sister Shanice and her great show and her mighty commitment and love of our people to do this work so diligently on a daily basis. And I always hail alongside you, your king, our dear brother Errol. I will look into and get back to you on next Ujama evening. It would be an honor and a pleasure as always. So if it is at all possible, we say that by the grace of the Almighty and the will of the ancestors, we will be back next week on the show. But we will confirm that within the next day or two, if that's okay with you, Sister Shanice.
Awesome. Yes,
our thoughts, I think our final thoughts going out of the show this evening must be with our Maasai brothers and sisters who are presently under attack, being evicted from their homelands. Let us raise their spirits up, brothers and sisters. Send them our energies, give them our strength, give them our power in this time, so that they may take on the fight with vigor and zeal, and indeed victory will eventually be theirs. I close as always in the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who says, "Unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will." Rumbidzo Kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tanamari, thank you so much, Brother Ldr Mbandaka. We thank you, we thank your wife, we thank your beautiful family. We thank you so much for your unreserved support to our community and for always pouring so much knowledge and wisdom into us, you know, when you join us and when you do your shows on a Monday evening on the Big G Galaxy Affiliate. As always, we get so much from those programs. Family, to each and every one of you in the house, in the chat that's been watching, thank you so much. Please do, if you haven't already done so, email me to get your signed copy of my book or get it via Amazon. You will be blown away by the research that I've uncovered, okay? And it's the sort of stuff you're not going to learn in school, college, or university either, all righty? So please do get the book. Sign the petition for the Maasai people. Let's support our Maasai brothers and sisters. You know, give them your signature and verify your email address. I posted the link in the chat a bit earlier. Scroll back and get that, please. And also, family, very, very importantly, join us this Friday on the 1st of Messiah in Brixton. Come from north, east, south, and west, wherever you are in the world, come to Brixton Square in London. Just tell the visa people, say, we invite you to come, okay, and come. Join us at Windrush Square or Pioneer Square in Brixton. We look forward to seeing you there. And all being well, ancestors willing, I will be back next strong for another Ujama Day, Sister Shanice show. Hopefully, again, with Brother Ldr Mbandaka. Odabo. Bye for now, family. Thank you, Brother Ldr.